Riley Gaines got shut the F down after a major clash with sports. Sports and Riley Gaines, you know, they don't mix too well. But this time, the WNBA forced Riley Gaines to make a choice. And of course, she folded. Riley Gaines was ordered to obey stadium policy or to GTFO. All over this hateful, stupid sign. And her message, it didn't stay up long because Riley Gaines got an unexpected courtside visit. And listen, what an amazing time to be a loser. There's never been a better time to be a loser, because if you're a loser with blonde hair or a potato head looking face and you hate people who are different than you and you love PDF files, Fox News has a job for you. Riley Gaines showed up to do what Riley Gaines does best: beg for attention. Beg for attention while being a hateful loser. Riley Gaines showed up to a WNBA game this weekend, a sport she wouldn't know if it hit her in the face, and she was determined to make herself the victim yet again, while joined by plenty of other hateful people carrying hateful signs of their own. And if she was just hoping for another little viral moment, she definitely got one, but she definitely did not get the one she had in mind, because within minutes, the WNBA security had to step in to handle Riley Gaines. Like, did the WNBA actually have to kick Riley Gaines out? I'm going to show you. We have footage of the exact moment Riley Gaines was stopped and how she's not the only MAGA clown this weekend getting a participation trophy, and how, listen, this is all one big old distraction from those who are actually a danger. I'm going to show you, because this story that conservatives are telling you isn't actually what happened. And real quick, if you're new here, I'm Loren Piretra. Willa Piretra will be back tonight. And we do this every single day out of pure principle and an absolute refusal to let people like Riley Gaines, Miss Sixth Place Loser, and Katie Miller, also loser, married to Stephen Little Bitch Miller. We refuse to let them ever catch up in sub count. We are bootstrapped, independent, network free, and we do this every single day because Stephen Miller's on the loose. Katie Miller has an ego. Riley Gaines won't shut up. And the only way we can fight back against this chaos and nonsense and Stephen Miller scurrying around in the night is to subscribe, comment 6 words or more. Every action you take, every hype, every sub, wherever you got your podcast, wherever you watch or listen, every action protects you from Stephen Miller, and it keeps these bitches down and humbled, okay? So we all have a role to play there. And listen, you mean to tell me that the greatest threat facing girls and girls sports is a group so small, most schools will never even encounter a trans athlete? But that won't stop Riley Gaines from crying victim every chance she's got.
What was your reaction to this?
Well, it's important to know who these girls are and, of course, the setting of where this game took place. It happened in Seattle. These girls are 16-year-old girls. They're in high school. One of the girls, her name is Anna Lee Wilson. She's a 16-year-old runner from Washington State who has taken a stand. Why has she taken a stand? Because she has had to live these policies. She placed second at, I believe it was the Kashmir Junior Olympics regional track meet in the 1600. She lost to a boy. Since then, she's had to find herself standing up before school boards to her peers and to classmates and to teachers and to adults.
Okay, hold on to that one, because what Riley Gaines is talking about and showing now are some girls who have also followed in her footsteps and lost and are mad at a trans person for existing. So hold on to that. And then here's another one.
How could you watch that video and listen to those two girls and see how sweet their demeanor is and their disposition is, and listen to what they actually had to say, right? She said several times, we never intended to be political. We're here to support Sophie because she supports us. You know, we were never disrespectful to anyone. How could you listen to that and call those girls any form of a derogatory slur or word or phrase?
Great question, Riley Gaines. Let's get right into it, shall we? What kids actually learn if kids are watching grown-ass adults like Riley Gaines lose her shit over this? What they're seeing is blaming a minority group, demanding exclusion from trans people. We don't want to see them. We don't want to participate with them. And what they're doing is they're turning their loserdom, their defeat, into what they believe to be a just movement. What lessons are we teaching kids? What could we maybe teach them a little bit about humility, sportsmanship, improving, getting better at your own sport, or respecting competition? If they keep saying they're protecting girls, okay, Riley Gaines, protecting girls from what? A trans person existing or your ego? Because if we're talking about actual risks, let's talk about the numbers. A little bit of math time, because the numbers always tell a very different story. And here's the thing that always gets me. The people who spend every waking minute claiming they're protecting girls never seem to be any bit of interested in the actual dangers that girls face. Because in case you missed it, Trump still exists, and so does Max Miller.
My former wife has claimed that during a custody exchange at my home that day, I assaulted her. Here's what actually happened, and I have the Ring doorbell footage that backs it up. She didn't call the police after that. She didn't go to the hospital, ladies and gentlemen. Do you want to know what she did? She went straight to a child's birthday party. The very next day, we had a friendly phone call about our daughter's upcoming hospital procedure, and I drove in from Washington to be there for it. 6 days later, she offered to cook empanadas for me for dinner, just 2 days later after this alleged incident. Only weeks later did the story of February 1st assault appear, so ask yourself, if I had assaulted her, would she have offered to cook me dinner 6 days later? Would she have invited me to spend an afternoon at the playground with her and our daughter? Would she have written that we were in a friendlier place? No, she wouldn't have, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm going to read a quote from the Seneca Project. Sadly, any woman who's been in an abusive relationship will recognize this pattern. What we see here is a wheel of violence and power and control. So this is gaslighting. This man was accused of abuse against his wife. What he's doing here, he's minimizing the violence, blaming the victim, and saying, oh, I couldn't have possibly done this because she carried on for survival. So what we're seeing is him doubling down on his abusive behavior towards his wife and his daughter. Okay, hold on to that. Again, trans people, trans youth make up such a tiny fraction of the population. Trans athletes are an even smaller group. So meanwhile, the overwhelming majority of violence against women and against children is committed by, anyone want to guess? Men. Men. Not by trans classmates, not by trans athletes. According to the CDC, about 1 in 4 women experience severe intimate partner violence in their lifetime. And the vast majority of sexual assaults are committed by men known to the victim. 25% of the population is at risk and will experience intimate partner violence in their lifetime. So trans people make up less than 1% of the population. Men make up, 50% of the population? But MAGA wants you to fear the less than 1%, which makes this week's MAGA outrage moment pretty revealing, because while Riley Gaines is always busy crying about sports she doesn't even fucking play, Republican Congressman Max Miller is facing serious domestic violence allegations from his estranged wife.
This is a family matter. I know Max is a good man. I was up campaigning for him. I hope he wins re-election. He's done a good job as a member of Congress.
So, it's just worth noting, the allegations include that Miller scalded his ex-wife's chest and stomach when he threw hot water at her, that he held a gun to her head, that he pushed her against a wall and hit her in the head, that he fractured their daughter's collarbone and bruised her shoulder, that his 2-year-old daughter reportedly told his ex-wife, quote, Daddy, kill you.
And Trump? What does Trump have to say about it, Mr. PDF Petalini in chief? Let's see.
I just learned about
he should resign.
Well, I'm going to look at it. So far it's accusations. I'll be looking at it. Yeah.
Don't worry, just some accusations, just some credible accusations. So conservatives are spending all day whining, crying about what bathroom a fictional trans athlete should use, while one of their own is once again facing serious domestic violence allegations made by his wife. He's denied these allegations, gaslit the fuck out of everyone else. But it's funny how protecting women becomes a quieter conversation when the accused is on your own team. It's almost as if this was never actually about protecting women, and it was about policing who gets to exist in public. And if we're actually talking about protecting kids or girls, let's talk about something else that affects both kids and girls: deadly diseases.
All you know how to do is repeat things that people told you and say, trust the experts. That's what you did during COVID. Now we know that Anthony Fauci, who was the expert, was lying about everything, about masks, about social distancing, about natural immunity, about the transmission from the vaccine, about the source of COVID. He was lying, and you were punishing people for not trusting the experts. And now you're rolling out the experts again to talk about something that you have no personal knowledge of.
Okay, well, guess what? That is my job, to talk to people.
Your job is to
Am I
tell the
allowed
truth
to talk?
to the American
yes,
public.
Yes, and my job
And
is
to
to
be-
get as
and
much
to-
information as I
and
can.
to maintain
what we were doing,
a posture
what we were
of
doing.
fierce-
The caption reads, I don't know why anyone continues to give this anti-vaxxer lunatic RFK Jr. a platform. It is entertaining to watch him crash out while being cooked. Yes, but he has shown time and time again that he will lie with no remorse, even when we have receipts. He is an awful human being. Yeah, I'm going to believe the scientist, not the guy who collects taxidermies and dead animals off the side of the road and then like eats their penis. Come on, please. This is insanity. So RFK Jr., as we all know by now, has spent months undermining confidence in vaccines. That was his platform. And now what we have is he's finally acknowledging that the measles vaccine is safe. It's safe and effective only after an outbreak has already spread to a 35-year high. A 35-year high. Thanks, RFK Jr. So glad.
And I've never questioned the efficacy of the MMR vaccine.
Okay, let me finish.
I've
What
questioned-
I want you to do is please use your bully pulpit to right now, as we're getting close to back to school, are you willing to say to parents who have not vaccinated their kids that they should vaccinate their kids for measles because it is safe and it will help them save their children's lives?
We tell people on my websites, my public
Right now,
pronouncement, I'll
look
say
into the
it right
camera.
now that parents should get their children vaccinated for measles. A measles vaccine is effective. It stops measles in about 97% of the cases. So people should get vaccinated.
Can I ask you?
Was that so hard? Was that so hard, RFK Jr.? So people are reacting. To be fair, RFK Jr. probably got rabid behavior from the animals he picked up off the road. And then another person wrote, that's what happens when you spend every day in a sycophantic echo chamber. So again, if your priority is children's health, preventing vaccine preventable diseases should probably rank a little higher than obsessing over a tiny, sometimes fictional number of trans athletes. But instead, what do? We coddle these clowns and we give out participation trophies while we're at it. Because yes, Trump, the Petalini-in-chief, Trump got another participation trophy this weekend for allegedly winning something he probably didn't fucking win.
Please join me in congratulating the President of the United States on winning the Super Senior and the Senior Division with a great score of 70.
He won both. That's amazing. Best president of my lifetime.
Somebody wrote, to be fair, it was the umpteenth time he played that course. If you want to know how much of taxpayer dollars have been spent with this man playing golf, it's really going to ruin your day. So we're supposed to believe, again, the greatest threat facing girls' sports is a group so small. Again, most schools will never even encounter a trans athlete. So why are we crying about who's in the locker room? It's almost like the people screaming the loudest about these imaginary threats don't want to have the conversations about the real ones. Because Riley Gaines, what you won't see online is that she clashed with arena staff at the Target Center, who succeeded in making her take down her stupid little sign. So Riley Gaines attended an Indiana Fever versus Minnesota Lynx game to support WNBA player Sophie Cunningham, who none of us knew before she started spewing hateful rhetoric. Hold that thought because we're going to talk about it in a second. And she held up an 11 by 17 inch sign reading, "Sophie, thank you, a girl mom." And arena staff approached Gaines in order to remove it because it featured a player's name, and that is against policy. So you can see here in this picture, the exact moment, a beautiful image of Riley Gaines and Jennifer Say when they were told to put their sign down, because it was not only that, but it was also blocking viewers. So of course, this person wrote, "No, I'm not surprised that they would weaponize common courtesy for more clicks." So XXXY Athletes is this organization founded by Jennifer Say, who seems to be an adult woman, very deeply fixated with the private parts of young girls and young athletes, which, in my day, nobody talked about this because it is creepy to do so. They're trying to say that, they couldn't have a sign up because she doesn't like Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham, but they can have a sign that says this. At the end of the day, what sports are supposed to teach people, what sports are, and I say this as a 22-time marathoner, is resilience. You lose, you watch film, you reflect, you're like, okay, what could I do better next time? You train harder, you come back better. Instead, what we're seeing from the grifterellas is they don't do that reflection. They blame an opponent for existing, which is the opposite of a competitive mindset. Great athletes don't expect the rules to change every time they lose. If your response to losing repeatedly is that person shouldn't have been allowed to play, you're not focusing on your own performance. You are focusing on like pushing out the competition and exclusion. Riley Gaines is the perpetual victim. And again, my coaches as an adult and as a girl playing sports, we're always like, we focus on what we can improve. Victimhood, however, focuses on what systems change because I lost, because I couldn't win. MAGA lives for a participation trophy. Riley Gaines and Sophie Cunning, whatever the fuck, are now also, let's be real, financially incentivized to keep this issue alive. The media is incentivizing them to keep this issue alive because the more we talk about fictional athletes in fictional locker rooms committing fictional crimes that have not happened, the less we focus on the real crimes, the real pedalinis in chief, the real abusers in power. This outrage, what does it do? It creates speaking opportunities for them where they get paid. They get television opportunities, podcast bookings. They get paid off of this. And we need to acknowledge that. And we need to acknowledge it way more than we do. And call me crazy, but again, what sports I think are supposed to teach you, one of the core lessons of sports is resilience. So elite competition, let's also talk about what elite competition is. Elite sports, inherently unfair. Some athletes are taller. Some athletes have genetic advantages. Some have better coaches. Some have more resources. Athletes spend their careers adapting to the advantages they cannot control. That's competition. That's sport. That's an athlete mindset. Some bitches just aren't fucking built for it. Some bitches are not built for it. Accountability says, how can I get better at this? How can I grow? Two fundamentally different mindsets from Riley, Potato Head Gaines, and Sophie. So we're going to keep our eye on this. We're also not going to stop talking about Epstein files and the abusers in power, starting with the one at the very top. So if you've enjoyed this, or if it's expanded your perspective, or if it's given you some frameworks to talk about with your own peeps, give it a share. Share this video with somebody who really needs to hear it. Hear a different perspective. And let me know in the comments what you think, and we'll be back with more.